Good evening. Hi, everybody. Since we just changed the scenario a little bit, we decided that the movie was not for kids, or it would not be a good idea to watch it with kids. So kids are going to watch another movie. And we have already seen this movie. And in that background, we are going to have a dialogue. Pihu was not an easy pick. It has many good points. It's based upon a true story, and only a 4-year-old girl acts for a 2-year-old. It has a strong message, and it is not something that any of us can forget. We have two speakers here, Moni and Pawan. Right reasoning, wrong application puts us into trouble, not only as a child, but all through our adulthood. We need resilience. We need not to panic when we get into something difficult, a difficult minute. Let us see how our speakers steer us this evening. Pawan Misra, BTech 99, IIT Kanpur. His expertise is obvious from the background right here. The environment he has created here for the kids is fabulous, nothing less than fabulous. This is his latest endeavor, but not the earliest one. Wishing all the success to you, because you have so many plans and dreams to extend this idea. All the success to you.
Thank you.
Pawan, please go ahead.
All right, so I want to talk about the art education. I would say, I would start with saying that we are all born creative geniuses, and then the education system limits our potential. And that's not me saying it. It's been an experiment by NASA scientists. So they hired somebody called George Land back in some time. And then George Land was tasked to create a kind of a test to figure out how creative scientists as NASA or engineers in NASA were. He did come up with a test, and it was pretty successful. So the test was given to everybody at NASA, and it was very highly effective in assessing a particular person's creative potential. And it was done a number of times, but it didn't stop there. What happened after that, scientists started asking each other that how somebody becomes creative. Is it something they're born with, or is it something that they learn with experience and things like that? So what they did, they started with kids in the age range of like 4 to 5 years. They picked about 1,600 kids, and they gave that test to those kids. And any guesses how much percent of those kids were actually creative geniuses? 45.
4,500%.
Very good answer. So 98%.
Oh, wow.
98% of those kids were creative geniuses.
Very nice.
And then they wanted to measure what education does to us. So they came back to the same kids 5 years later. So now we're talking about 10-year-old kids, and they gave them the same test. Any guesses what was the percentage of creative geniuses?
60, 70?
30%.
Oh, really? How many years of education was that?
That was 5 years of education.
Oh my goodness.
Fast forward. So they gave the same test 5 years later to the same set. Can you tell me guess what percentage it would be?
10.
15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Fast forward, they gave that test to adults. Can you guess what will be the percentage of creative geniuses?
5.
2%.
Oh,
So-
we're killing it completely.
And that was not the only time they gave that test. Like it has happened with millions of people. It has been proved time and time again that the education system limits or kills creativity. And the reason that they described behind that was specifically George Land. He was like that the education system is not serving what people want. Is serving what people in influential positions, people who are powerful, who are running, the countries and governments. It is serving them what they want kids to learn. So, so how do we change that? So 2% adults have creative geniuses compared to when, kids are 5 years, then 98% kids are creative geniuses. So the recommendation was, let's go back to becoming 5-year-olds again. What that means is that when you are 5-year-old, you exercise both sides of your brains. Your left side, which is more about logic, more about judging, more about deciding, more about testing, more about assessing, decision making. And then right brain is more about creating, about creativity, understanding novel situations, finding lateral solutions, to problems. So at 5, when you are 5-year-old, you exercise both your brains, equally. And as you grow, generally you tend to exercise your left brain more than right brain. So how do we create the same creative geniuses in later stages of life? Is exercise your right brain even more. And the way they put it, they said that your right brain is divergent brain. Your left brain is convergent brain. So right brain is all about saying that, okay, let's think about this, let's solve it, no foundation, nothing, let's go to basics and think about everything. Left brain is the brain which is always putting logic and everything around from what we have learned. And left brain will be saying, okay, no, this has been done before, let's not do it. So unless you have right combination of both brains are important. You are not going to allow that creativity, and novel solutions are not going to come into place. So the recommendation was, let's go back, become kids, 5-year-old kids, so that we all exercise our right brains as well. And they're very complementary. There's nothing like right brain is better, left brain is better. It's all about engage your right brain more and more so that you're exercising both. And that is your path to becoming creative geniuses again, right? Or at least increase that percentage, let that percentage go up. So that is the idea behind Noon Spark as well. Everything here is very complementary to what we learn in STEM, so we kind of have movie making, creative writing, music creation, digital art, NFTs. So we provide this place to children where we allow them to think, and be creative and come up with new creations. So in a way that is helping them in making their left brain more powerful. So everything they go and learn in STEM, like math, science, every good stuff, they're becoming more effective with that. And not only that, they learn empathy, they can understand how the other person is feeling. And that kind of makes them even stronger because they become more situational aware. So
मुझे एक बात मन में आ रही है इस वक्त. I wish I were 5-year-old. Number 1. Number 2, I wish I had 5-year-old kids. Number 3 is I wish I had 5-year-old grandkids.
Any of those or all of them.
Any of those would do. And I would love to raise them here in this environment.
Thank you. So any questions?
I think it's very, very educational what you just told about the killing, the education system, what it's doing to creativity. That's impressive. And the space you have created here is awesome. And it's fantastic that you actually hosted this event here today.
Most welcome.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
जिंदगी यूं हुई बसर तन्हा, जिंदगी यूं हुई बसर तन्हा, काफिला साथ और सफर तन्हा.
वाह वाह.
काफिला तो मिल गया आज ही सही. अब मोनी सिंह से बात कराएं कुछ. BTech 96, IIT Roorkee, is not new to the podium of chapter of the Carolinas. This is the third time she is speaking among us. And her speaking assignments carried her all the way to Bombay and New Jersey in person. New Jersey in person and Bombay by voice. And she's so charismatic that the reason I brought her so many times was because I could not replace her. Moni Singh, please.
Well, thank you. Okay, so I'm in such this creative space here, Pawan. So I have to do something, and if I can actually ask for your help with that, okay?
Awesome.
So we are going to begin with a little demonstration, and then I'm going to get into like really because we were talking about PIHU and we talked about resilience, and you talked a lot about creativity. So we'll come to all of that. But before that, I want to do something very quickly. And we just want to test that everything is working fine with you. Okay, so we're going to lift your leg, just like that. Just take a spot walking. Everything working fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what we're going to do is I want you to just step like this, like this. Okay. The only thing is your shoulder and your feet cannot move. Okay. Make sure that's completely touching. Okay. Now, please, I would like for you to try that again. Can you move this? Can you lift this feet up now the way you were doing it before?
Wow,
What's going on, Pawan?
that's magic.
Yeah, say something, say out loud. What's going on? What's coming? What are you feeling here?
So I'm really limited. I can't lift my left leg right now. I can do hand, but
You're feeling stuck.
I hope
aren't
you guys
Feeling
are
stuck.
not
Feeling
prepared
stuck.
this kind of conversation. You are really
yeah, I mean,
Cynic.
I'm trying hard right now.
I did not tell you that, but I did cast a magic spell on you. So let me actually reverse that spell, okay? Okay, all right. Now I just want you to step back over here. Please show us that you can still lift your feet up. Awesome, very nice. So, what just happened here, right? What happened here? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I would say many a times we are not aware of the power of whole. We just focus on one thing and we think it's operational without the support of entire whole, like team or the entire ecosystem. And often what happens is there's an ecosystem which is making everything work. And the moment one part of that ecosystem is stuck, the other part cannot work without.
Very nice. That's really good management speak. Awesome. I love it. Now I'm going to go to the scientific explanation. There's a scientific explanation to this. So thank you so much, Pawan. You can have your seat.
Thank you.
So what we just did, I'm going to sit down too so we can be back. And so what we just did here and the scientific explanation behind it is that when we, of course, we all know about the force of gravity, right? The thing that keeps pulling us down and keeps us on the ground, right? So since people know I'm the founder of the STEM for Kids movement, so yeah, I have to talk a little bit about science before I get into the actual topic of resilience and creation. So if I had to balance this pen on my finger, right? So it won't balance everywhere, right? There's only a certain point where it's going to balance out. So for example, it balances right about here. Just because it kind of my finger is placed right where there's a center of the pen. So that's the center of gravity, right? And that's where the pen balances out. So exactly that's the same thing that happens when we try to lift our feet, even though we can't see, but our body tilts a little bit just to reposition ourselves so we can find a center of gravity and balance ourselves. Now, when I supposedly cast the magic spell on you, all I asked you to do was put your shoulder and feet and you could not move this, right? Yeah. Now, once you do that, our body is not able to reposition anymore.
Wow.
And because of that, you cannot lift your feet because there's no way to find that balancing point anymore. There's no give in this wall. So that's basically it's a scientific concept all around center of gravity. So why did I talk about all of that? And we saw, from the movie PIHU, right? It's there are many times, many situations we find ourselves in this feeling of being stuck, right? There's nothing we can do. Whatever we're trying to do seems to be not working, or the situation is totally out of control. And so when you get into those situations, then what are certain things that you can do, right? Is there something you can do? And typically what happens when we get that feeling of stuck is typically, like number one, maybe you talked a lot about creation, right? When you get involved in creation, typically there's a lot of failure. It's part of it, right? You're trying to build something, maybe learning something for the first time. You will fail. You might have to attempt multiple times. And that feeling of failure can make you feel stuck. Secondly, many times the situations feel like they're outside of your control. So for the kids, it's like there may be a plan to go to the beach and have a great vacation time, and then the riptides are so high that there's no way you can play in the water, right? So those things can happen. Situation totally out of control. Or number three, which is very contextual in today's world, someone may not behave nicely. So maybe they're talking badly, or there is bullying that kids you're facing. So then any of those situations can feel like you're stuck and there's something just not right about it. The good thing is that in any of those cases, the feeling that we feel could be feelings of frustration, anger, panic, anxiety, stress, right? Any of those negative feelings. And it's just, I think the good thing to know is that those feelings are normal in those cases.
And I have all of them.
And you have all of them. Yeah, of course. Now, and I want to come back to the creation side, right? Like Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulbs, when he was building the light bulbs, he was trying to figure out the filament, what material to use for that filament. And he tried so many different materials and he could not get the right one. He even used his own hair for that. And so there was somebody who came and asked him, hey, Mr. Edison, you keep failing. You've tried it 10,000 times. And Mr. Edison responded back saying, no, I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways in which this will not work. And that is powerful. And that's the beauty of failure, is kind of knowing that it's basically you're finding ways in which something is not working. So what I wanted to offer to everyone, and this is something that can be applied to adults as well as children alike, is when you're feeling stuck, there is a way to get yourself unstuck.
जैसे मैं कहूंगी गुलजार जी के शब्दों में, जब भी ये दिल उदास होता है, जब भी ये दिल उदास होता है, जाने कौन आस पास होता है।
ये कहाँ से आया?
तो सिर्फ ये नजरिया है, सोचने की बात है कि हम अकेले हैं या हम साथ हैं किसी के।
Very nice. तो जब भी ये दिल उदास होता है, उस दिल को खुश होना चाहिए. So now what I'm going to do is give you a trick to be happy. Okay, trick to be happy. And this is actually really a simple thing, and it's a hack, and I'm going to offer that to everyone. It's for you, for the kids, for all the adults out here. Okay, so let's go into when you're feeling stuck, how do you come out of it? So and figure out a way to just deal with whatever is going around you. So happy, Happy. Okay, so the very first step is, first of all, you have to remember that whatever situation you are in, you always have a choice, and the choice is that you choose to be happy. And how do you become happy is, number one, H, you hear yourself. That's the very first step we have to take, is to hear what's really happening with me, how am I feeling? And oftentimes, and especially coming from a background like IITs, right? We are told, suck it up, guys. Just deal with it and figure it out, go for it. And in that process, we ignore how we are feeling. And this is so important that whether children or the big ones out here, you take the time, just take a pulse, check in. I am feeling anxious, or I'm feeling this. Acknowledge that, whatever it is. It's a big part of that self-awareness and even compassion. Sometimes just the way you hear is, you can put your arms like this and kind of just hear, acknowledge yourself. That's the very first step of any process. The second element is A. A is accept. Accept that what you're feeling is normal. It's a normal part of whenever you're learning something new. You don't, you're just figuring things out, something feels out of, and what you are seeing is a symptom of the fact that you have maybe encountered a failure, some sort of adversity, and that's why you're feeling it. And then also knowing that you may not see a solution just yet, but there is a solution that exists. And that's important. I use a hack, and I'll give that hack to everyone, is problems equal opportunities. So anytime you're faced with a problem, instead of thinking, here's another one, you say, aha, I got an opportunity to learn something, to improve, to grow, and to make a new, to find a new solution. And so that's the A part. So once you've done that piece, the next piece is P. And this P is pull yourself together. So if you fall down, you get a boo-boo, you get hurt, there's a cut. You don't go dancing out, figuring out what to, the first thing you do is let's clean the wound, let's apply a Neosporin or Band-Aid on it, right? And that's the next step that must happen, is that piece about let's piece ourselves together, right? And how do you do that when you are in this emotional stage of stuck, right? The way you do that is take a timeout. So for example, if you are playing on Minecraft and you're trying to make this beautiful house in Minecraft and things is not working out, you just go out, you take a timeout, maybe you play with some other toys, or you're trying to build a robot, do something different, or you're stuck in a problem, take a timeout. For adults, so sing, dance, jump around, whatever works, but you want to do something which engages your mind as well as your body. That's the only way you can actually get the right kind of timeout from whatever it is that was going on. And so you do that piece, because that's a big part of just calming yourself down a little bit. So that has happened. So once you've calmed yourself down enough, now you can really figure out the solution to whatever problem and challenges you were dealing with. And that's the next P, which is now you can really persist and persevere, right? You try to figure out a solution. This is a time when you think, okay, maybe, talking out with people. So for all children out here, you can talk with adults in your life, right? There are many things that they know, which you may not know, right? Talking with them and figuring things out. Or for adults, reach out to your support network, or of course, research and, whatever things. But now that your mind is calm, you can figure out, a way to solve that problem. And the last piece, why, that's something to always bear in mind, is to yearn to be the best version, the best version of yourself. It doesn't matter what's your age, how old or young you are. There's always an opportunity to learn, to improve, to grow, and to be a better version of wherever you are. So that's the happy. And before I end this, everybody knows I love to sing. So I'm going to end this with a song. No, not a whole lot of song, right? Just a couple of lines. This song is from a 1989 movie written by Endeavor, and it was the music director is Anu Malik. So the song goes like this. Aage hai problem, piche hai problem, aage piche aju baju, problem hi problem. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. And now you know how to be happy. So go for it and be happy, everyone. Thank you so much.
That was really awesome. May I ask a question?
Excellent job.
Thank you.
That's really awesome.
Moni,
My name is Mitali.
Mitali Misra,
My name is Myra Misra.
yeah, Myra Misra. Will you please like to say something nice to Dad? He's a wonderful dad, and we were talking here, and he showed some extra talents here. And would you like to say something about what he is to you?
You're a good parent who supports us in art and what we want to do.
Would you like to give this bouquet to him?
Oh, that's awesome. That's lovely.
Come on, Ansh. Just for 1 second. Okay, I'll hold you. Okay, will you like to give this to our second speaker, Ms. Moni Singh?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Awesome.